absolutely none. There's been no vision at all engaged in planning the way ahead. Therefore, we don't have a sustainable economy. The other thing is that this government has made, in spite of the fact that they have spent billions of dollars, they have made absolutely no progress in feeding ourselves. I mean, $500,000 could have worked miracles directed toward the agricultural program in North Caicos and or Middle Caicos, but that has not been done. In fact, there has been absolutely no money except for some seeds and paying the wages of a few people that are being employed. So obviously here again we have a government that does not plan, a government that does not have any vision in terms of seeing where we should be, particular as a tourism economy, where agriculture is important and where we now have the global problem of food shortages. We could have been spared that misery. And those are some of the things that the People's Democratic Movement government will pay attention to. Again, we have situations where the environment is being attacked left, right, and center. And it's affecting our tourism industry because we have long-term celebrity supporters of this country, visitors, and who come annually, who support us in the various aspects of tourism, who are now objecting to what is going on from the standpoint that the planning regulations are being ignored and the National Trust input is being rejected, and there aren't any environmental assessment, impact assessments going on, and these people are now giving out negative publicity. So this obviously will affect our tourist industry and will inevitably affect our economy because we depend on tourism as our mainstay. So obviously you can see that this government, it's the fact that we are going through economic woes is a making of this government. And it is something that the PDM has given much thought to. It is something that we have diligently planned to combat, and we have a number of policies just waiting. And the other thing we recognize is that the challenge that lie ahead of us demand that we work closely with the private sector as partners, particularly the businessmen here and the investors. And I think this government has blatantly denied them that opportunity. But if we are going to rebuild this economy, we have to be sensitive and we have to be receptive to those persons who are playing such a vital role in our economy, and embrace them and embrace their ideas and work hand in hand with them to ensure that there is a genuine partnership between government and private sector. So at the end of the day, we all live happily ever after.
I just want to wrap up quickly on what Honorable Skippins has said and what this government shows that it has no vision. And I want to tie that to what Mrs. Robinson has said in terms of them rolling back some of the taxes. To me, that is something that is alarming. Here you have a government that comes to budget session, rolls out these measures, and apparently gave absolutely no thought to it. Now that in itself is destructive. They're showing that they're a government that is bankrupt of ideas, bankrupt of thought, out process, and if they ever had vision, they lost it. Because 5 years later, they still don't know where we're going or what we're doing. And for them, just a few weeks after they come to you and make this big deal about all these revenue generation measures, they're rolling them back one by one, only after the opposition then lends their thought and says, this isn't the way we should go. Then you're seeing them rolling back. And to me, that is reckless, that is dangerous. And this kind of economic climate, you have this type of government in place that is just doing things without thinking about it.
I think it's, and I can't agree more with the deputy and the chairman. The reality is that the government is bankrupt of ideas, they're bankrupt of morals, and they're bankrupt financially. They're just bankrupt. But the as we, again, I mean, when we're talking about the ideas, there's one thing with all the taxes that they were bringing, trying to bring forward, and then they roll them back. But throughout their entire term of governance, you would see them trying to grab on things that we've spoken of, but not doing it properly, trying to run with it, but not. A couple of years ago, we talked about ensuring that we give agriculture the preeminence that it deserves, and forming a Ministry of Agriculture so that we can look specifically at that area of our economy. The government heard it. They said, that's a good idea, but they went with it. And aside from the wages that they're paying for people, they actually spent $17,000 on agriculture for an entire year. I mean, that's less than $1,500 a month, man. What do you? And again, it's not only hearing it and going with it, but when you don't capture the vision and understand exactly what we are talking about, when we are talking about putting infrastructure in place, making sure that you have capital available to local businessmen that want to go into farming, because again, there's a lot of money to be made in farming as well, and we have achieved that critical mass in our country from both local and tourist population, where farming can be profitable. If you can imagine just one product, if you just look at bananas, and you look at the largest hotel in the country right now has about 500 and something rooms. So if you say that they had 1,000 people in there on a given night, all right, and half of them ate one banana, that's one banana a week. For over a week, that's 3,500 bananas. Over the course of a month, that's 14,000 bananas that are being sold. This is just to one resort. The potential for income generation from farming is immense, but government needs to take the lead, not only with ensuring that it puts the infrastructure in place to make sure that there's large-scale farming, but also making sure that capital is available to local business people that want to get into the industry as well, and providing them with consulting advice to ensure that they do it properly. We've been saying this for years now. We're not just interested in people going into business, but we're interested in making sure that when they get into business, they become successful businessmen. That's been our mantra. That will continue to be our mantra as we move forward. If you're a Turks and Caicos Islander, if you want to get equal opportunity and equal pay on the job, then you have to support the People's Democratic Movement. If you're a Turks and Caicos Islander that wants an opportunity to get into business and to be successful, then you've got to support the People's Democratic Movement. If you are a young person that wants to have your future secured and look to the future and have a government embrace you and put resources behind you, then you've got to support the People's Democratic Movement, and not just support the party, but talk to your friends and your friends' friends and spread the message that the only way of hope for the Turks and Caicos Islands is the People's Democratic Movement. Educate them on that. And the thing is, again, the point that I'm making to you is that the PNP, it's a choice that you make.